Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary, and not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. From timcast.com. This is really, really interesting. ACLU warning in 2008, not a million years ago. The ACLU used to stand for something. I'm doing this to show you that how the left and the progressives, and even some liberals, have completely lost their blank. And they're just shills for corporations and the government. The ACLU used to stand for something. And guess why they turned around 180 degrees? You guessed it, money. They got hundreds of millions of donations. They've never been flusher with cash. Let's read on. ACLU warning in 2008, suspension of liberty for health, public health could be permanent. Oh, really? A recently surfaced 2008 report from the American Civil Liberties Union examined how the United States might respond to a pandemic and warred against law enforcement and national security-oriented measures that cause freedom and the rule of law to be permanently suspended. Look at that. Read that again. Stop the video and read it again. The threat of a new pandemic will never subside, says the ACLU, not 13 years ago. But the notion that we need to trade liberty for security is misguided and dangerous, the ACLU warned. Public health concerns cannot be addressed with law enforcement or national security tools. Very, very interesting. Now, let me show you the ACLU's position as of last week. Far from compromising them, vaccine mandates actually further civil liberties. That's an 180-degree turn, exact opposite. The threat of a new pandemic will never subside. Notion that we need to trade liberty for security. I've already been through that. Public health concerns cannot be addressed with law enforcement or national security tools. We risk not only undermining our fundamental rights, but alienating the very communities and individuals in need of help and thereby fomenting the spread of disease. The ACLU's warning that the suspension of liberties in the name of public health can alienate individuals appears to be representative in the curve of COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy, with a recent poll finding 20% of Americans would either definitely refuse the vaccine or only agree to be vaccinated if they're required by their job or school. And that's why the feds are pushing all these big corporations, medium-sized to large businesses. Everybody that does business with the feds, either directly or indirectly, has to be vaccinated. Seemingly forecasting the ongoing calls for lockdowns as new variants of COVID-19 continue to be discovered, the ACLU wrote, and this is fascinating, the law enforcement approach to public health offers a rationale for the endless suspension of civil liberties. Endless suspension of civil liberties. The global war on terror may go on for a generation, but the war on disease will continue until the end of the human race. There will always be a new disease, always a threat of a new pandemic. If that fear justifies the suspension of liberties and the institution of an emergency state, then freedom and the rule of law will be permanently suspended. Wow. After analyzing America's historical response to disease outbreaks, the ACLU concluded, highly discriminatory and forcible vaccination and quarantine measures adopted in response to outbreaks of the plague and smallpox over the past century have considerably, I'm going to highlight this because it's important, have considerably accelerated rather than slowed the spread of disease, while fomenting public distrust and, in some cases, riots. Let me read that again. Over the past century have consistently accelerated rather than slowed the spread of disease, while fomenting public distrust, in some cases, riots. Now, plague and smallpox is way, way, way deadlier than our current crisis. Fascinating, isn't it? Isn't that just fascinating? And why'd they change around? You guessed it. Money. So I love to see the donor list, which they won't show, I believe, from the ACLU. They have hundreds and hundreds of $1 million in their war chest. Money just pouring in. I'm sure they'll run all kinds of campaigns because of the new Texas abortion law, and the ACLU will be directly involved in that. Remember at one time, I believe it was in Muskogee, I believe it's in Indiana, years ago, some neo-Nazis wanted to have a rally, and they were denied a permit. And the ACLU stepped in and said, basically, listen, they're pieces of crap. We don't like them either, but they have a constitutional right. My understanding, I am not a lawyer, nor am I a constitutional scholar. Having said that, to my knowledge, there is not an asterisk in the Constitution that says this document only applies when things are going well. So there you have it. ACLU warning in 2008. How far the left has turned. 180 degrees. So you folks out there that still vote Democrat, the normal Democrats that are left, think about who you're voting for and think about who you're defending and supporting, and then make your choice. The liberals of the old are gone. There's been a huge turn in both parties in the United States. I consider it one of the biggest realignments in political history, except for maybe the 1850s and 60s. You are who you defend, and you are who you support. Now that you know that all they care about is money rather than the principle, who do you support and who do you defend? And until next time, goodbye and good luck.